I like how the movie opened up, and it was just the way it was worded. It was just like, well, things are bad on Earth, so we're going out there to look for intelligent life.
Right.
I was like, well, because we can't have any rational conversations on Earth anymore. We're just going to go out here and start talking to the aliens. It's like, man, maybe y'all make some sense in this.
Right.
So like I heard through the grapevine, I was like, okay, this is new for Brad Pitt.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, let's check this out, see what this is all about and everything. And I mean, let's be real, our choices weren't that vast.
Yeah. We were like, because we were like, hey, let's go to the Alamo Draft House and see a film because it's an awesome movie experience. If you've never been to one, there's others around that very similar where there's no texting, no talking, phones are off, put away, and they flat out tell you, we'll give you one warning and then you're out, and they won't refund your money and you won't be happy. That's and right. Everybody else will be happy because, again, you go there to enjoy a movie, quiet, so there's not a lot of nonsense going on, and also they have delicious food, and they bring it to you. It's like even better. Yeah. So we were like, I was like, hey, let's go to check it out. And you're like, okay. And so what's playing? I was like, well, there's only a couple of things playing, and that was one of them. And we were like, well, let's go see that one. I was like, okay, because I'd not really heard of it at all. I was like, oh, yeah, okay. And judging by like some of the previews, it was given. We had a real like Interstellar kind of vibe to it. Yeah, it did have a bit of an Interstellar vibe. It's very similar. Of like, there's an astronaut. There's something weird going on. They got to figure out how to stop it. Or whatever, and then in Interstellar it was the Earth is dying or whatever, and in this case it sort of would happen like that too. If this whatever electrical discharge kept happening, the Earth would have life would have been extinguished or something.
It's like it's like all right, yeah, it's science fiction, but ish,
right?
Like if you don't expect to see any, even though it is a part of the film, don't expect to see any aliens just walking around and we're all of a sudden we're buddies communicating back and forth or whatever. Don't expect any of that.
Nope.
Don't expect large space battles or anything like that. Don't expect any of that.
Nope.
This is the second film in our review that is going to be a character study and more of a very character-driven film.
Very much so. Whereas Joker had a lot of emotion, this one was the character trying to figure out, because this character really nothing fazed him.
Right.
And that's the kind of the really sort of the sort of contradiction of these two films from the Joker and this one is in that one it was totally his emotions were kind of just a lot of stuff happened. He just couldn't figure out what to do. This guy, the big thing was his heart rate never rose above a certain level, like almost like a resting heart rate. He was so. I mean, this Brad Pitt's character was a super cool cucumber under fire or anything. Something bad was happening. He's just kind of like, okay, I'm just gonna do this. Okay, he's like, command, this, and I gotta do this, and he's just. Like just like suave and cool.
Exactly. He's like that's the guy you want on any type of mission. That's the guy you want flying your planes and stuff like that. Just cool, calm, just like
all right. To Earth. Yeah. Well, I gotta get out of the spin, and then I'll deploy my chute when I get low enough. Not sure what happened, but I did manage to disconnect electrical junction before I fell. Thousands of feet to the Earth, and that's kind of what he was doing. He's kind of matter of fact talking about it.
Yeah, I mean, like
dang man. Yeah. And then I want to say when that happened, it was so close up on him, you felt like you were falling too.
Yes,
because I mean, they'd like in this shot right here, it's a tight shot on him, and then you see the Earth, and then they pulled back, and you saw him, and you saw Earth in space. You're like, whoa.
Yes.
And so in this movie, it's really, really more him against. Kind of the elements, like you would, and most of those kind of like Castaway with Tom Hanks or whatever. It's him against nature or the elements. In this case, space.
Right.
So
exactly,
space will murder you. And if you do anything wrong, if anything bad happens to the kid, like okay, you're dead.
Yeah, exactly.
You're gonna die horribly.
It's just like being out in it's just like being out in nature, like you said, with Castaway and stuff like that. It's like, you do anything wrong, or you do anything messed up, you're dead. You're done.
You're gonna starve to death. You're gonna fall and break your neck. You're gonna break your leg and slowly bleed to death or something internally. You're gonna die.
Yeah, which is why like this character works so well in this kind of environment.
Oh yeah, he knows exactly what to do. He's something bad's happening. Okay, well I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do that. Okay, we're good now.
Don't panic. Just go ahead and go through it and everything.
Yep.
But that's also, and what I liked what the film did with it is also like it's also a flaw. that he has.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't connect with people.
Right.
Like he would want to, or like his, then ex-girlfriend.
Yeah. Yeah.
Liv Tyler.
Yeah.
Who, if I'm being honest, is kind of it is kind of a thankless role.
Yeah, it's she's not in it very long.
She's not in it very long.
You don't really see her there.
There she is.
You see a brief, like a brief image, and she was there. I think then she literally walks out on him just because he won't connect.
Right.
And there's a lot of that breaks down from, I guess, his non-connecting with his father, not really interacting with a lot of people. But his father was an astronaut. He became an astronaut, I guess kind of like, the age-old thing of gonna make my parents and make dad proud of me,
right.
In some way. And then of course his dad ties into the reason why he has to go out in deep space. I want to say to me that was kind of the only flaw in the film.
Was
Tommy Lee Jones? Yeah, because supposedly disappeared 29 years ago, and he looked super effing old being an astronaut. I'm sorry, but he just did. I'm like, young him up a little bit in some of the early shots, just so that way, because it's just almost 30 years for crying out loud. He was already old as F. Why would you send an old dude into deep space? I don't know. And then I don't know.
That is a flaw that does take you out of it because he is the age that he is. Nothing against Tommy Lee Jones; he's a great actor,
right?
But I'm just like,
he's way too old to play that role.
Yeah,
and that's the thing. He was old looking before he got lost in space. Yes. It was 30 years ago.
Exactly.
And I'm like, nah, he's geriatric already. There's no way they're going to send him to deep space.
Exactly. Which was, it does kind of, lead into, there's a similar issue, but you kind of see, it almost plays itself out a little into a realistic point. It's like, all right, there is another older person. Was it Donald Sutherland?
Yes.
Yeah. So Donald Sutherland here, and he kind of looks like, it's like, man, what am I doing?
Right. But see, that's the thing.
But I'm like, he is too old to be doing this, and he goes out and he's just like, he can't handle it.
Right. Well, and that's the thing. But that's why it makes it perfect, because you're right. He's too old, or he wants to do this.
Right.
But he realized as he's doing this and all this stuff happens when he's there with, the trying to get to the site, because they're trying to keep us on the hush hush. So, and apparently they were moon pirates.
Right.
And they're not whalers on the moon like in Futurama, but they're pirates on the moon. And so, so I guess he just couldn't hack it being that old. But, and that's the thing is exactly. Now, I will say he's only going to the moon, so I guess I could see in the near future older people going at least to the moon or in right around Earth, but not deep space stuff.
Not deep space, yeah.
Just because that's going to take so much toll on your body already as a healthy person,
right?
As a healthy astronaut, they've already done studies on that. As a healthy, good shape astronaut, you come back to Earth. There's a lot of wear and tear on your body,
and you see that through Brad Pitt's performance and everything, and how they shot him going to space. It's not a cakewalk for him, it's not like you show the psychological challenges that he's going through, and he says he's starting to lose it a little bit.
But I gotta say, bring that picture back up. Bring that picture right there up. But he has awesome hair. I wish I had hair like that.
I wonder why he said that.
That is
you got the same hair, man.
No. I don't have 4 head. I have 8 head, and his hair just looks amazing. See, his hair is fabulous. So you're going to go into space, you got to have fabulous hair.
That's true.
This is bottom line.
Praise Brad Pitt a little bit here, because similar to how I felt about the Joker in Joaquin Phoenix, how I kind of lost sight of this is Joaquin Phoenix. It's I lost many times. I completely lost sight that this was Brad Pitt.
Yep.
I'm like, this was brand new person that I have never met before in my entire life. This was it Roy McBride? I was like, this was Roy McBride. I don't know who's Brad Pitt. I don't know. I don't know who he is, but that's not him. And I'm like, he really lent himself to this role, and I can see why he took it. I see why he took it in that regard, because let's be real. Every night, I mean, it's fun to play like the fast talking character. He's got the swagger. He's swagger. He's got his eating thing or drinking thing that he's always doing or whatever. But it's like a lot of times it's good to really like stretch your as they call it, stretch your acting legs. Like really just kind of lay it out there and really lend yourself to a role in so much that you become this person. And they did a really good job with that. Director did a really good job with that. As far as visuals go, visuals were really good. The visuals were
amazing. And I mean, a lot of it is like I said, above Earth or in space. And like you said, right here with those shot on Mars, being very red and kind of dusty looking. That's great. And the other thing is, with this kind of, like I said, you're tied up on Brad Pitt a lot. So, as Lee Armstrong, our friend, would always tell us, acting person who's been in a few number of movies and TV shows, if you're on the screen and you're that close, you got to be very simple. Especially for a dramatic role. And if it's a comedy role like Joker or some other kind of comedy role, it's okay to be big and slapsticky. But even if you're close on, you still can't really do kind of the big mugging thing unless it's just for some kind of effect.
Exactly.
But you're looking at him like that. You got to be so simple.
Exactly.
And I mean, with his eye moving and his kind of when his face twitches a little bit, you go like, wow, that's big because you're right up on him. So it's small, but it looks huge.
Yeah, and that was one of the things like I did notice that he had. Is like whenever something like actually was starting to get to him, his eye would twitch
a little bit. But it was kind of the opposite of the Joker. Was it? But in a good way. It was emotions in a good way, because here he was cut off, emotionless. That helped him at least in some way, but not to connect with people or his father or his girlfriend, fiance, or wife, or whoever she was.
Exactly.
The Liv Tyler character. But it did serve a purpose for this thing of him doing his job. He still managed to contain it even when he started getting more and more kind of in touch with his emotions. He didn't let them dominate him, at least. Like he didn't just lose his stuff and kind of just be a basket case. But he still was able to at least understand himself and other people and kind of really figure out some issues going on, because he never really knew his dad because he was young when his dad left,
and he had a really hard time letting go of that. That was like the whole thing was just like you just let go of this part, and allow yourself to to feel. And that was the thing. Like he didn't allow himself to feel like, and he he goes through it in the as you see in the film. Like that's the whole reason that you're seeing flashbacks with Liv Tyler's character and his ex-girlfriend. That's the whole reason you're seeing it, is because you're seeing like the emotional disconnect. It's like she'd want to just nuzzle close to him or something like that, and he would just kind of like I mean he wouldn't like not like get off me, but he would just kind of turn his head a little bit or something like that. And
very simple, very simple.
Yeah, just little stuff like that, and I'm just like, you completely get it.
The antagonist in this was space.
Exactly.
There was no bad guy, really. There was space. Now, there was like a nefarious, they're trying to keep you from learning the truth and trying to keep you from getting to your father, blah, blah, blah. They don't trust you, blah, blah, blah. It's the man, or whatever you want to call it. But in essence, the nemesis was space.
Exactly.
The thing keeping him from getting to his goal. That's what he had to fight against, was space. And again, his emotions at that time to check as the movie progressed, he became a little more and more emotionally vested, because again, he's trying to get to his father, he's trying to come with those, figure out those issues.
Exactly.
And then that kind of tapped into, like you said, when he remembered about his fiance and his girlfriend, that he's trying to figure out, like, am I messed up, or how did this mess me up as person, not being in touch with my emotions because my dad left, and etc. So
and I like the especially as as far as the lighting goes, obviously I like the head nods to Space Odyssey 2001. I was like, okay, that's pretty neat. Just some of the scenes, how they would shoot scenes and and compose them. I was like, okay, I see what you're doing there. You got those little head nods. You got to do it. And
I want to say a lot of people were really blast. I saw some reviews like Rotten Tomatoes, and some of the people online are like, they're just saying, oh, this is boring, it's too slow, I fell asleep, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, Yeah, but it's not a Star Wars movie with lasers and explosions.
No.
It's 2001 kind of a, deeper meaning and thought of look at this, bring that back up, that one and that one. It's a visual spectacle. If you compare this shot, and the contrasting colors to say, that scene with the red and stuff. I mean, and you look at how the scene, again, cinematography looks amazing.
Yes.
The space shots were just breathtaking. And the way they set it up where, you're seeing the small rocket ship, you're seeing deep space, you're seeing the moon, you're seeing, these guys driving on, the
moon
surface
ATVs,
of the moon on these ATVs being shot at by the pirates or something. And you got the explosions that are very colorful. You got the moon, which is very gray. You got the space scene is very black, and especially when like that shot right there, you got the module, you got the moon, you got the total contrast of it's so dark over there, everything's really bright, and then you got the outline. I mean, it's just so simple. But it's beautiful,
and effective and purposeful. Like I said, everything like the shots are very purposeful. Like I said, we were talking about with Joker. I was like, everything like it's done with purpose. Like the dialogue, it's it's purposeful. It's real dialogue, but it's also like, hey, this is also telling you the story. I mean, I guess like people like I said with sci-fi and Brad Pitt. I see what people might expect going into this film, whatever, but I mean, the trailers don't really lend itself to that. And like, honestly, I would say the trailer doesn't even do it justice.
Right.
I'm
it
like,
doesn't. And I'd not heard of this film. I didn't know anything about it. And I was like, what is that? And then I heard them, I don't know, I was listening to the radio or something, and they were talking about Ad Astra starring Brad Pitt coming out. I was like, huh. So I just looked at it. I was like, oh, some kind of space movie. I was like, okay. But I had not seen any previews, only because I don't really have cable. So, I wouldn't have seen that.
Right.
And I didn't see any previews when we went to the movies up to that point because it just kind of was a surprise. I was like,
I didn't see any previews either for the theater. I had to like actually go look on YouTube for this.
Right. But a lot of the critics, and not just the critics though, on Rotten Tomatoes, the critics liked it on Rotten Tomatoes, which people were like, oh, and then people are going to hate it. And then the people, like the normals, they just kind of said, oh, it was pretty boring and it wasn't exciting, and the trailers didn't, paint it the wrong way. I mean, trailers always do that nowadays, which is really sad. You'll see the best part sometimes in the trailers.
Exactly.
And the movie's like,
exactly.
But somebody else works at a movie theater, and I was talking to her, just a person I saw, and we were discussing something, and I said, hey, there's some good movies. I said, not many good movies out, but I did see Ad Astra. And she goes, oh, yeah, people were saying they didn't like it very much. I said, well, I thought it was really awesome. It was a great character-driven movie. I said, now, it's not a science fiction, lasers, explosions, and fast-flying ships. It's a space movie of like a real science kind of fact of modern or near-modern Earth, so just like near future. So you still got slow rockets. There's nothing really exciting about that. It's, trying to figure out what's the mystery. Are they going to find out? What is this character motivated to do? Why are they doing it? Is the character changed by the environment and his situation? And all that happens. I said, if you like 2001, things like that, you would like this movie, I think.
Yeah. That was probably the only scene that I would probably say, like, as far as like the CGI, it wasn't as great.
Right.
That was probably the only one I was kind of like,
that was
okay.
Probably, I said that too. I was like, but it was so, honestly, it was so surprising. It kind of freaked us out that I don't think, at that point, because it was so tense filled, like, well, what's going on? There's supposed to be people on there. We can't get up with them. What's going on? And he's like, okay, we shouldn't stop. And you're like, everybody's like, yeah, you shouldn't. Don't stop. Something bad's going to happen. And we knew that, but we didn't expect that. So I think it happened so fast that like now when you look at it, you're like, oh, yeah. Okay, but it happened so quick. I think at that point, we weren't really seeing that. We're like, holy crap. We didn't expect that. And then it was over pretty quick. So we really couldn't. It's not like they drug it out. Where, gonna go, okay, it looks really bad.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Actually, one of the biggest problems I had with the film was the overuse of narration. I'm not going to say narration all the time.
No.
Because there was times where I'm like, okay, yeah, I could see
because it was just mostly him. There wasn't a lot of other people around him on the screen. It was mostly him because it was mostly him on screen, like on Mars or again, he was on the there were other people with like Donald Sutherland character and the other guys played the lieutenant on the rover. Mm-hmm. But it mostly focused on him because the other guy was driving and trying to shoot. He was, give me a weapon. It's like, and then Donald Sutherland's character just really wasn't really doing anything. He was just obviously freaking out, worried that they were going to die because the pirates were shooting at them. Mm-hmm. And then, of course, later he was, on the ship, whether he was on the ship with the, face-eating baboon or on the rocket ship later or on Mars trying to get back onto the rocket. Mm-hmm. So you mostly focused on Brad Pitt's character.
Exactly.
So that's the thing. There was no one else for him to talk to, so you had to do that. But that one scene, he was like, "Oh, he's scared."
Yeah,
I was like, "Yeah, you didn't need to say that because you could tell because the character was acting that way." So we're not dummies. We're gonna go like, "Is he scared?" I never would have guessed that.
It got to a point where it was like, "All right, you're just now you're describing what's going on in the movie while we can actually see what's going on in the movie." Or you'll say something before we, before something pops up, and I'm just like, okay, yeah, I'm expecting that to happen now, but it's like you didn't need to say that, like there's the scenes with the with the flashback scenes and whatever. I didn't need narration through those scenes. I'm like, all right, I see what's going on. I see that he's distant. I see this now. I don't need to hear you speak about it.
Right.
I'm not saying that Brad Pitt doesn't have a nice voice. I'm just saying, like, I don't.
We didn't need to hear everything because, again, remember the goal, the whole thing was, remember, it's space, it's quiet.
Yes.
So he didn't necessarily need to narrate all the stuff. Mm-hmm. I mean, some parts he did because, again, we wouldn't have known because he was by himself.
Right.
So like his thought process.
Yeah, there's a scene where like he's coming down like the escalator or something like that, and there's like he's talking about like how commercialized like the moon has become or whatever, and he's talking about like, well, he's like, my dad would have hated this or whatever. I was like, okay, that's something we can't see, we don't know. Yeah. So that's you're kind of like dropping some exposition and some character about your dad or whatever. So we're not spending time with him. Right. I can get that. I understand that or whatever. But and just certain scenes, like I said, the narration over like the flash, I was like, no, I see what's going on here. I don't need you to tell me that or whatever. I don't need you to tell me everything that's going on.
Right.
It's like, oh, sitting here taking a dump.
I know. It's like never liked going to the bathroom in space. It was always a little awkward.
Yeah.
It's kind of floating around while I'm trying to, drop off the kids at the pool.
Yeah.
So it's like, of course, in space it's not a pool, but hey.
Feels uncomfortable when they jump back.
Yeah.
That's like,
the suction feels odd. It's like,
Yeah, it's like
kind of little breeze on my whoopsie daisy.
Yeah, it's like it didn't need all that or whatever. No. But like I said, that was probably my biggest issue with the film. I was like, all right, just show don't tell.
Right.
Show don't tell.
And how long was this movie? Because I want to say it was longer than Joker.
Oh, it might have been.
I want to say it might have been like 2.5 hours. Let's see. It's going to show us a preview thing.
No, 2 hours.
2 hours, 3 minutes. Okay, first of all,
I think 1 minute longer.
Yeah, and here's the thing: this movie didn't feel long.
No, it didn't.
To
I didn't
us,
feel
it
like
didn't.
That at all.
It felt, I don't know. It felt reasonable.
I mean, I appreciate the movie. Like, it's a very, very good film, very well made film. But I do appreciate it on the basic level of like, this is just some guy with abandonment issues who finally gets to confront the thing that abandoned him.
Right.
And it's just like, I can't, you probably can't even count how many people would love to do that. Would love to just have that opportunity to like
if someone died when you're like a parent or somebody died, you never connected with them or something.
Yeah, exactly.
I can see that. In this case, he thought he was probably dead because he realistically probably should have been.
Exactly.
But somehow, I don't know, I guess he killed the people. The crew who wanted to come back on board because they're like, well, nothing, it's not working or nothing's going on here.
Because they weren't quote unquote dedicated to the mission enough. So, but yeah, I appreciated it on that just basic level. I'm like, this is a basic concept right here, and it's a real concept, and like they just took it and they could, like I said, they could have put it anywhere, but putting it in space actually just like it just added that cherry on top to do that, like just to add the more, like I said, adding more tension to it and stuff like that. Yeah, it was just, I appreciate it on that level a whole lot more, because I said, like, some of the best movies are just the simplest concepts,
right?
Just like, and I don't know, like, with the writer or anything, like, okay, are you writing this from some sort of experience? You know, are you writing this from the heart? It felt like it was, but you know, it just depends. Just depends.
Well, you were talking about they sent somebody out deep space to find life because of, you know, why not, you know, look for meaning and, you know, whatever. Like, oh, when I get along on Earth, let's go find aliens or something.
Yeah, and that's what it was. The way it was kind of worded, kind of like struck me like that. I was like, well, dang.
Right. And funny. It's really funny because I was thinking of that song from Monty Python's The Meaning of Life, where he sings about the universe. And I was trying to, I think it's called the Galaxy Song.
Are you looking up the lyrics?
I was trying to real quick while you were talking. But yeah, at the end he said something like how, you know, looking for, you know, the meaning of life or something, because here we go. Yeah, here we go. So the last line says something like, says, and pray there's some intelligent life somewhere up in space because there's bugger down here on Earth. And I'm like, that's basically it.
That's basically
because there's bugger all down there. You know, so yeah, that's basically, if you think about it, that's in a nutshell. The comedic version, obviously, but that's kind of what you're saying. It's like, you know, hey, pray there's intelligent life somewhere up there because apparently people down here lost their mess. I mean, you know, I mean, bugger all down here on Earth, according to Eric Idle.